So you're looking for a gated neighborhood on Lake Lanier with your own designated boat slip, plenty of community amenities, and great proximity to all the shopping and restaurants you could need. Well, that's a little bit easier said than done.
Man, that's easier said than done.
Hi, I'm Sarah Maslowski with KeyPoint Homes Group, a local real estate agent right here in the Northeast Metro Atlanta area, and I frequently get people reaching out, people just like you, wanting to find the perfect neighborhood on the lake that meets all of their very specific criteria, like a gated neighborhood with amenities and their own designated boat slip at the community dock on Lake Lanier. Well, unfortunately, there really aren't that many neighborhoods that fit this criteria. One thing I like to explain to people who call looking for a gated neighborhood on the lake is that it's not really necessary. These are very safe areas. Of course, do your own research so you don't find a lot of gated communities here. Another important thing to know about Lake Lanier is that most homes on the lake are just single family homes, not part of a neighborhood. If you are new to the area and want to be in a neighborhood in order to get connected with other families and have other kids around for your kids to play with, these are going to be your option. Another thing that makes these neighborhoods different from a lot of the single family homes on the lake that aren't in a neighborhood is that most of the residents in these communities live in these homes year-round and are not used as short-term rentals in off-season because of the HOAs and the restrictions in the neighborhoods. Many people who buy a lake house that is not in a neighborhood will use it as a rental to bring in some extra cash during times that they will not be in town. And if this is a second property for them, and that's something that you can't really do in these neighborhoods. So let's talk about your neighborhood options on Lake Lanier. First on the list, and perhaps my absolute favorite neighborhood on Lake Lanier, is Marina Bay, located in Gainesville. Now, what I really like about it is that the homes are on more private lots and there are still a ton of trees and natural beauty in the neighborhood, so it doesn't feel like everything is sitting on top of one another. I mean, the neighborhood is just magical whenever you drive through it. There is a community marina that some homeowners have their own designated boat slip. If you want to have a designated slip at the dock, you're going to need to make sure that the home that you are interested in purchasing already has one that they are selling, because there is a very long wait list for slips here and very little movement. People hang on to these.
Oh, hell, I'm not letting go either.
So if you like a house but it does not have a slip being sold with it, you should have the expectation that it is very unlikely that you're going to end up with your own slip here. You're just gonna have to make really great friends with a neighbor that has a boat. Now, this is a gated neighborhood with a large variety of homes, from older homes built in the early 90s to new construction options. I always prefer the older homes because they have the better lots in the neighborhood, and even though they still have some new construction options with good lots, a lot of those are going to be on the smaller side. I had some clients build in here and they loved their new home, and I've also had clients buy resale options with incredible views. Now, as far as amenities go, you have a large green space and beautiful pool with a 14,000 square foot clubhouse that also has a fitness center. You're gonna have 3 tennis courts, also pickleball courts, and the community dock, of course. You're only about 25 minutes from downtown Gainesville Square and about 20 minutes from lots of other shopping and restaurants on Dawsonville Highway in Gainesville, like Home Goods, Aldi, Home Depot, Old Navy, Target, all of those great things. Now, a lot of people like this location specifically because it's still an easy, quick drive to all the stuff that you're going to need, but you don't feel like you're right in the middle of it all. It is kind of set off a little bit, tucked away, back off of some side roads. Now, because of the smaller new construction options and large older options, you've got quite a price range in the community. Homes that are ranging from the high 700s all the way up to $2.6 million. If Marina Bay sounds like it could be something that you're interested in, I also encourage clients to check out Harbor Point, which is also in Gainesville, and it is another gated neighborhood with a lot of amenities. There is a community marina that, again, if you want to slip at, you should make sure that the home that you are buying has a transferable slip, because there is a long waiting list with very little turnover. The slips at this community are going to cost you $60,000 that you pay the HOA, but it's kind of like a temporary hold on that boat slip because you're going to get this money back from the HOA whenever you go to sell. In addition to the community marina, there are also 6 pickleball courts, 2 tennis courts, a great big clubhouse with a small fitness center and a restaurant, and you also have a basketball court. Now, houses in this neighborhood are going to be closer together, and you don't have as much of tree coverage that you do in Marina Bay. The homes in this neighborhood are going to be quite large. A lot of them were mostly built between the late 1990s and the late 2000s, but there are a few newer builds that went up in 2021 and 2020. You'll find that this neighborhood sits rather high, which means that many homes don't have much of a backyard because of the elevation and the slope of the land, but you do get a better view of the lake from this vantage point. Homes here typically average from the upper 800s all the way up to over $2.5 million. When it comes to location, Harbor Point is about 15 minutes from all of that same shopping that I mentioned earlier on Dawsonville Highway in Gainesville. So you're a bit closer in towards the shopping and restaurants here, which makes it a tad bit more convenient. Another neighborhood that you should consider, a little bit different than Harbor Point and Marina Bay, is the neighborhood called Dockside Cove. This is a newer, smaller gated community in Gainesville. There are no neighborhood amenities, but you will find a larger, more private lots here and that community marina that provides day use to all community members. There is a covered dock and an uncovered dock, and the slips are owned by the homeowners, not the HOA like some of the other neighborhoods that we've talked about. Sometimes a home goes up for sale and the new buyers do not have a boat, so they'll lease it out to other members of the community, but there is no set price when they go to sell. You're going to see them range anywhere between $40,000 to $60,000, but again, it's seller discretion depending upon what they want to sell it for. Now, they are still finishing out building in this neighborhood, and the first homes were finished in 2019, so everything in this neighborhood is pretty new. The community is on the north end of the lake, just a few minutes away from Marina Bay, so you're going to have the same 20-ish minutes to shops and restaurants. Currently, prices range from the low 900s up to $1.5 million. I had some clients buy in this community back in 2021 for $550,000, and I always think about what a great investment that is because they could sell that home close to double these days, which is crazy. Next up is a neighborhood a little bit farther out from where I normally talk about, and this is in Chestatee in the town of Dawsonville. Now, this neighborhood is not gated, but like I mentioned earlier, it's not really a big deal to residents here. There are a lot of great amenities in this neighborhood, and very similar to Marina Bay, it is so charming and pretty with tons of trees. The amenities here are going to have 4 tennis courts, a bocce ball court, huge pool, and a beautiful clubhouse. So you also need to know that this neighborhood sits on Chestatee Golf Course, which is an 18-hole course, but your HOA fees do not give you access to this. So it could be a good and bad thing, right? Because your HOA fees do not mandate that you be part of the golf club. When it comes to boat slips here, there is a community marina with transferable slips. And once again, if you want to have a boat slip in this neighborhood, you're going to have to find a house with one because there is a waiting list. There are still lots for sale in this community that you can buy and build your perfect home. And like most of the other neighborhoods we've talked about so far, there is a wide range in age of homes and prices here. You're going to find homes built in the late 90s through around 2010, and then you also have some newer homes built within the last few years. And like I mentioned earlier, there are still a few lots that you could buy and build on. Similarly to Marina Bay, the newer construction homes are actually lower in price than many of the resale homes because they are significantly smaller and they do not have as great of lots. But you can find homes if you want to be in this neighborhood starting in the low 600s. And then you can also go all the way up to $1.5 million for some resale options. So you need to know that many of these homes were built through the 1990s, through the early 2000s, and then again starting in 2022. So you're going to have a range of styles, but one unique thing about this neighborhood, and kind of similar to Marina Bay and Harbor Point, all of these homes have really great architectural details, and it's not your typical cookie cutter neighborhood. So Chestatee is located in Dawsonville, and it's definitely a bit more of a rural town. But the great thing is that you are going to have tons of great shopping and things right at your fingertip that are only 10 minutes away from the neighborhood, like North Georgia Premium Outlets and all the shopping and restaurants that you could want is right there, just a straight shot down from the neighborhood. everything except for Target. I'm sure soon there's probably going to be some announcements that Dawsonville will get a Target, because I just can't imagine that they don't have one yet. If you want to go to Target, you're either going to have to go to Cumming or Gainesville. Both are going to be about a 30-minute drive away from that neighborhood. Another great thing about this neighborhood is that it sits right off of Georgia 400. So if you need to travel down to Alpharetta or Atlanta even, you can quickly jump on 400 and get straight down there. It's just a straight shot. Depending upon traffic and how long that's going to take you, it's fairly convenient. Now, this next neighborhood is not going to be for young families because it's actually a 55+ neighborhood, but it is one of the most popular with retirees in the area, and I think it is worth an honorable mention. Crestwind at Lake Lanier is all resale homes that were built starting in 2007, with the newest being completed around 2014. So if you're looking for brand new construction, you're not going to find it here. When it comes to amenities, Crestwind at Lake Lanier has no shortage. Y'all, they have everything. You've got pickleball courts, tennis, bocce ball, basketball courts, indoor and outdoor pool. There's a 3-story, 42,000 square foot clubhouse with a large modern fitness center. They host over 104 clubs, all kinds of parties, activities, classes, everything. They do it all here. And one of the biggest draws of this neighborhood is that it's on Lake Lanier and it has its own marina with 60 boat slips. And so how things work here is that you join the wait list with the HOA because they own the slips. So instead of selling the slip with your house, the slip turns back over to the HOA. So whoever's next in line on that wait list gets offered that slip. As of January, the slips will be $90,000, but you do get that money back when you sell your home and turn it back over to the HOA. Most people spend about 2 to 3 years on the wait list here, but there are also 8 slips that residents can reserve for a few days at a time if you wanted to bring your boat over for a long weekend. Obviously, this is quite the wait to get your own slip, but it's nice to have this option, and it's not like you're never going to eventually be offered a slip. This neighborhood is definitely great for those who maybe don't want all of the maintenance that comes with an exterior of the home, but you want to be near the lake and have all the great amenities without all that upkeep. There are other smaller neighborhoods that have community docks, so these are not the only options you have to be in a neighborhood on the lake, but these are by far the biggest and most popular. So I'd love to know your opinion and what you think. Do any of these neighborhoods meet your wants and needs, or would you prefer a home on the lake that is not in a neighborhood? Let me know your thoughts below in the comments on this video. And of course, if you're considering making a move here to Georgia, I want to be your real estate agent. You can reach me by clicking the link in my pinned comment under this video. If you're interested in learning more about living on Lake Lanier, you need to watch this video next.